What's up, guys? It's the Slasher Bachelor, and I'm back with another movie review. Last night, I went to finally go see Backrooms. And before I start off my review, I do want to congratulate Curry Barker for Obsession and kaneparsons for Backrooms. Two incredible people, YouTubers, mind you, turned directors able to put their hard work onto the big screen. So, congratulations to both of them, because I didn't give Curry Barker enough credit on his Obsession. Two people in their early 20s producing some stuff like that, I'm fucking jealous. It really motivates me to be fucking as much as good as I want to be. So shout out to them. Kane Parsons, 20 years old, making Backrooms. Curry Barker, 26. Congrats. So no matter what I say right now, it is a huge accomplishment. So whoever's hating on this, you have a problem. Now let's talk about Backrooms. Not gonna lie, going into it, I've heard of Backrooms a lot. I've known a lot of people played some of the fan-made video games and all this other stuff. I was like, oh, okay, I've always went past it and never really watched much of it. I did watch his first Backrooms video, Kane Parsons, the first one when the cameraman was helping him film something and then just randomly found himself teleported into the Backrooms. I thought that was fucking sick. I never watched the whole series, so I didn't really understand fully the rest of the concept, but I still came to watch it because A, I want to support these content creators, and two, I was like, it looks interesting, and the back room itself is just very fucking scary. You know what I mean? Just seeing a bright yellow room empty with, it's just like a fucking maze, and all you hear is just the sound of the lights. It's fucking creepy. So yeah, I went to go see it, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I actually enjoyed it. This movie has gotten a lot of hate. I'm gonna explain why people hate it and why it's kind of annoying, but I'm just gonna explain how I felt about the movie, because obviously this movie isn't like the greatest movie ever. I understand some of the criticisms, but let me explain what I liked about it first, and then I'll go into everything else. The thing about Backrooms is, this isn't this usual horror where it's like jump scare after jump scare and oh, let's creep you out this way and that way. This is more of a psychological horror. So it was more like you have to be very focused on what's happening at every moment in time, which leaves you with more questions than answers. And that's the whole point of Backrooms. You're not supposed to understand everything right away. It's all a thing where it's like, okay, let's learn about this. All right, how do we get here? So what makes this happen? Why are people looking at this? Why is this company so infatuated of wanting to know about this stuff? What's going on with the people who's already involved in it? So it's always this thing of like, you have to be focused. You actually have to use your fucking brain, which I thought was pretty cool, because it's usually a thing where when we watch a movie, we kind of know where the concept is going. We don't really have to use our brain power that much to enjoy a horror movie. But this one, you have to really be there, like focused and locked in as to like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? And which I thought was pretty good, because I got to challenge myself. I got to actually sit there and actually have to focus on what's going on at every moment. And that's what's so cool about Backrooms. It's like, it's such a creepy concept, but it's not something where you need to have these freaking entities every single moment scaring the shit out of you. Just the rooms itself, just to see what these people are going through, the backstory with these characters, what was happening with their career wise, their personal lives. How is this going to fit in with the Backrooms concept? And it fits itself so well. And I think that's why a lot of people did not like this movie. But I personally did. It's fucking insane. I don't know how they produced this movie, like how they did the sets for the back room. It is phenomenal. Each scene, the set, I don't know how the fuck they did it. Like every time they went to a different room, did they reset it to make it look different? Because it looked like an endless maze, just like how it is in his YouTube videos. But it's so crazy how him and A24 were able to just make these sets where it's just like consistently just different and just so wide expanded. I want to know the behind the scenes, because that's fucking interesting. Another thing I gotta say with Backrooms is, this is definitely something that needs to be more than one movie. Like after coming out of this, I was still confused, and I'm like, there's so much lore behind this. There's so much they can do with this, so we can understand more about these backrooms and what this actually means. So if they make sequel upon sequel, it's cool because we get to slowly understand more and more by introducing new characters that have to try to go through this situation, and we just learn more through there. So this is definitely a series that can happen where it's like this deserves a couple sequels because it leaves so much to learn, and that's what I really liked about this movie. Now I get it, this movie isn't for everybody because I understand there's a lot of people that were like, oh, you know, this was boring and stuff because a lot of people expected it to be very creepy with just immediate jump scares all the time. And people were more bored because they don't really like the psychological, they don't really like using their brain. That's 2026. It's more of a just, it's more of a horror that you really have to be invested in order to watch it. I love every single type of horror. Like found footage, I fucking love it. And just every type of horror. So when I get to actually have to sit here and watch and have to dissect it and have to be like, fuck, I gotta go watch this movie again. So I must have missed something. That's the movies that I really like. The ones that leave me confused, but not in a bad way. I'm like, this is fucking terrible. More of a, wow, that's very fucking interesting. I need to know what like more about this. And I think this movie does a really good job about it. But the hate online is so forced. You can tell it's forced. It's all engagement farm. That's all everybody wants to do is engagement farm. And that's the big problem. Instead of congratulating Parsons, who's 20 years old, directing a movie that is doing fantastic in the box office, they just want to sit there and hate and say, oh, this movie was mid. Why did they let a 20-year-old do this? This is what happens when you let a child produce a movie. And I'm like, he's way better than y'all. Y'all sitting here criticizing him. Meanwhile, he's making a movie that was what he had $5 million. They gave him a $5 million budget to make this movie, and they're making double that right now. So what are you doing? You're over here talking mad shit about it. In fact, this movie is actually doing pretty well. So I'm not saying that you're an asshole for not liking the movie. You don't have to like it. We don't all have the same taste, but you can tell there's people online. You can tell that they're just a horde of them are just engagement farming. One says they don't like it, so they immediately jump and be like, yeah, I don't like it either. Yeah. And they'll just shit on the movie. One person I saw walk out with his friends and was like, this was nothing like the game I played on Roblox. Like, what? How is that? How is that something to critique? Oh, it's nothing like the game that I played on Roblox. The fuck? It's not supposed to be. Like, it just confuses me where the way that people go about things. If you don't like the movie, that is fine. But the way they go about it is like trashing it in a way to the point where it's like, oh, this was the worst movie. I keep saying this was the worst movie of the year. I don't know how many times I have to mention this, but you saying the worst movie of the year is this when clearly you haven't watched Scream 7. I will always say that. And these are probably the people that like Scream 7, the people that hated this movie. That's simple as that. I can definitely see it. It's just, I don't know. People are weird. People are very weird. So it's like I can't stand the people that just have this pure hate in their heart. You know what I mean? Like, I fucking hate Scream 7, and I'm going to keep telling you that, but I'm not going to sit here and fucking get mad at the fact that you don't like Backrooms because you may like Scream 7. But if you don't like Backrooms just because of what other people are saying and not your actual personal opinion, what does that make you? You look like a follower. Because I know there's actually people online that actually didn't like the movie and they felt like it was mid and they didn't expect something like this. That's fine. I just hate the idea of they see the trend of shitting on something, so they'll jump in instead of actually watching it, or instead of doing it yourself first and then actually having your own opinion. 'Cause I feel like that's the trend now. People wait to see other people's opinions and they'll have that opinion in their head. So when they go and do that certain thing, they already have the mentality of, oh, I'm going to hate this. So When it does happen, you're like, oh, I totally understand why people hate it. Instead of you having your own opinion, you just focus on everybody else's, you let that gather, and then you go and see it or go and play it and then be like, yeah, this shit is terrible. No. How about you avoid spoilers, you avoid all stuff, you do it yourself, see how you feel about it, and then you go online and see how everybody else felt about it. Because we may all have different opinions. But I feel like that's the biggest issue I have with the situation. And especially the people that downgrade this all because Parsons is 20. It's like, that is an incredible thing to accomplish at 20 years old. To accomplish something so big like this is incredible. And for people to discredit it and be like, oh, he didn't really direct it. Oh, why would they let a kid do this? It's like, bro, what are we doing? We should be actually supporting these kids because these are the future of the directors. Why do we need a fucking 90-year-old to be producing great movies still? These are the future of movies. And for people that want to fucking criticize Parsons being 20 years old directing this movie, do you guys know a guy named Sam Raimi? You know, one of the most accomplished directors of all time and people love. Yeah, he made Evil Dead at 21 years old. So, what are we doing? Why are we jumping on the bandwagon of, oh, hate Parsons because he's 20 years old? But Sam Raimi, who's a year older, made Evil Dead, and everybody has a perfectly fine with that. Come on. Like, let's be real. Maybe you didn't even know that. I just gave you an information. You probably didn't even know that. But now you know. How do you feel about that now? You might change your way. You're like, oh shit. I mean, if Sam Raimi did at 21, I guess we can let Parsons get away with it. You know, fucking losers, yo. I can't. But enough with everybody else's opinion. I'm gonna continue talking about how I felt about the movie. This is spoiler territory now. That was my actual basic review. Overall, before you leave and watch the movie, before I get to the spoilers, I give this movie a solid 9 out of 10. Thought it was fucking fantastic. The actors and actresses were amazing. The visual effects, fantastic. The overall story, the overall confusion, trying to have me think psychologically and it's meant the mentally being fucked. It's like, I thought it was a great idea. Do I think it's better than Obsession? No, I'd still have Obsession and then Backrooms. Nothing wrong with Backrooms being number 2. I just really fucking loved Obsessions so much. But Backrooms, if you came to tell me I like Backrooms more than Obsession, I wouldn't even bat an eyelash. I wouldn't argue with you. I'd be like, I get it. I get it. So yeah, that's definitely how I felt about the movie. 9 out of 10. Definitely you should go watch, especially if you just want to see how it is. Now we're going to get into the spoilers. The main character, Clark, in this was very interesting. The way that he owned a furniture store that wasn't successful and his wife just left him, kicked him out the house even though he was paying all the bills, and he consistently goes to this therapist who also winds up being a main character in this movie. I like the way they went about all these characters. I really wish the side characters got a little bit more time, like his assistant manager and his other employee, Bobby and Kat. I think that's where their names are. I wish they had some more screen time to flesh out their characters, but we only had an hour and a half, so I get it. But Clark having such a rough time, going through this rough time right now, and then finding about this Backrooms that was been secretly under his store for so long, even fucks him up even more, and nobody believing him, and then all this other stuff where it's just like everything around him is kind of bringing back the memories of what's going on with him. Like, you see all his furniture everywhere. Everything seems like a warped reality inside of this big room. It's hard to explain, but I think that was such a cool concept of having him be, you know, this character that was so confused and wanted to fix his life up, and then at the end of the movie wind up having this room be his life. This was his sanctuary now. Everything that was wrong in the world that was doing him dirty was all different now. This was all his. He can do whatever he wants here now, and nobody would judge him. So I think that was definitely a cool plot, because that's been a situation that's what the therapist was talking about, was saying that, you know, he constantly just blamed everything on his wife and he has reasons for that, but he just never took really big accountability for himself. So now he's in a space where he doesn't really need to take accountability. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, and nobody's gonna do anything about it. Which isn't the reason for the backrooms, but he's using that to his advantage, and it just seems like an entity kind of took over him to get him to that point, whatever the case may be. But I do think that it's wild to see what they did with that character, and then the therapist actually being the ending protagonist, you may say, and her trying to figure out a way what's going on, and then the company Async, who is trying to figure out everything, who's been monitoring everything through the backrooms, and now is trying to ask questions and stuff. So I do like the fact that they're setting up the Async company, which I do think, if I remember, they're low-key trying to figure out this stuff for personal gain. If the last time I checked, I gotta remember and go back. But you can tell they have a certain motive. They don't really care what her experience was. They just want to put that down as a way to figure out what's going on and use it to their advantage. So I do think it also brings up the thing of greed, of people trying to do stuff in order for personal gain. And I really like that idea, putting this into this movie. And it's so fascinating to see the characters, like the different versions of the characters in the real world in the back rooms, all creepy looking but don't really do much. It's like, it's a real creepy concept. You see, I think they showed the guy that came to fix the store up, to fix the lighting and stuff. There's a different version of him down there, and his face is all split up and creepy looking. And there was a lady there. I don't know if that was his wife, because in the beginning of the movie, when he's talking to the therapist, and the therapist is telling him, we're gonna do like a little role play. I'm gonna be your wife, and you're gonna be you, and we're gonna explain the night that happened when she kicked you out. And they go through that whole scenario. And then when they do the backrooms in the end of the movie, they do the same scenario again, but this time he has her play the wife again, but he cut the lady's hair off and then put it on top of the therapist. So it's making me believe that that's a version of his wife. Maybe. I'm not sure. But it's like, it kind of felt that way, because if they were going to do the roles again, he kind of wanted to make her look more like his wife. So he took the hair and put it on top of the therapist's hair, and they had that conversation again. So it's very psychological. There's so much shit. Like, I gotta watch it again. You're probably confused, like, what is he talking about? I don't even know what I'm talking about, because it's so much stuff, and that's what makes it so interesting and so fascinating to be like, yes, I have to watch this again. I have to look more in depth. Let me go on his YouTube channel so I could get more stuff, some more knowledge into me, so when I go and watch it again, I could have a different point of view on it and try to understand more. And I think I like that concept of that when it comes to Kaneparsons' Backrooms, because now not only do you have to watch this movie, you also have to watch previous stuff so you can try to understand stuff and click everything together and try to mesh into your own opinion as to what's going on. Because in reality, none of us know what's happening, right? So maybe if we do our own study on it, we can come up with our own conclusion and be like, okay, this is how I feel what's going on. And then somebody else can be like, no, but if you look at it this way, this could mean this and that. We can do a whole debate on what we feel, what's going on, and try to figure out the mystery of this shit. And I think that's what's so cool. We didn't need super jump scares every 5 minutes to make it a horror movie. We just use our brain to be so confused and be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's like you're trying to figure out stuff and you only have an hour and a half to do so, and you're just sitting there like, what is happening? You know what I mean? Like, you're just sitting there throughout the whole time like, what are we doing? Like, and it's not in a bad way. That's the problem. It's like a lot of people look at it as a bad situation, like, oh, this is horrible because I had no idea what's going on and I wasn't expecting this, and all this other stuff. Because a lot of people did say they liked the first part of the movie, the first half, where it was more like action packed and more, you see more stuff that's going on, and the second half is more of a slow burn kind of thing. And that's when people really hated it, because they felt like, oh, we were so good in the first half, and in the second half it just dropped down, which I understand. That is a problem with the movie a little bit, I will admit. There's just certain scenes where you can tell this could have been shorter, but it was just dragged on a bit. That was probably like my only if with the movie. is that I do understand the drop down when it comes to the second half. It feels like there were certain things we could have just rushed past. We didn't need to see him go through every single room, and we didn't need to go through every single thing like that. It felt like we were just dragging that out a bit. So I get that point, but it's not to the point where I can say the movie's fucking terrible. Like, no, it's fine. It's the movie has its flaws. A lot of movies has flaws. So I didn't freaking really get mad at the fact that that was a situation going on. Like, shit, it fucking happens. You know what I mean? So if that's the way he wanted to go about it, that's the way you want to go about it. That's it. If you hate it, you hate it. If you love it, you love it. Fine. So that is a problem that a lot of people had that automatically turned them off. It didn't really turn me off, but I do understand that situation. But however, I really fucking enjoy the way they went about it, and now they're having this stuff where they're setting up like, yo, we can do another movie because we still don't know anything. We had Phil, the person that works with Async, came in and put the therapist in for questioning. We didn't get much out of that situation, so there's more that we can discover. And then we do see that there is a different version of the therapist now inserted into the back room. So it's still something like we're still trying to figure out. A great example of how this kind of works, my friend that I went to the movie theater with, we spoke about that, and he said something so crazy that I was like, yo, it kind of does feel like that. If you ever watched the movie Us, right? When there's like underground, there was the same people that you know lived in our regular lives, but there was separate clones of them that were doing the same stuff but with different situations. That's how it kind of was with this. It's like there's another version of you, but this version is just stuck in this place where they don't really do much, and it's just in this vortex where you don't know what the fuck is going on. That's how it low-key felt, kind of like Us, where it's like there's another version of you, but you just don't even really know it. I was like, you know what? You can really put that in perspective and be like, yeah, this is kind of how it is. So, like I said, look, another thing, you probably didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. That's another way to interpret it. That's what I like about this movie. There's so many ways you can go about it. That's what makes it so interesting. I don't understand why so many people hate this movie. It's like, I'm not saying that you have to like this movie, but the automatic hate that this movie gets it's so stupid. Like, I understand. If you don't like psychological horror, you probably like, yo, I really didn't like this movie. That is fine. If you can go in comments and say, yo, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like this movie, respectfully. I get what you're saying, but I didn't like it. I don't like the way it was paced. I don't like how it went. I don't like the ending. I don't like the characters. If that's how you feel free to explain it in the comments. I just don't like the rude people that are like, oh, this is so fucking stupid. This is so disappointing. And it's not even like big critiques either. They're just saying it just to say it. And that's the problem. Like, when I critique Scream 7, I can go on for hours as to how bad that movie is. And I'm not engagement farming. That's why I didn't even make a full video on that, because everybody's going to be like, oh, you're just hopping on the Scream 7 hate. So I didn't do anything about it. But like, if I wanted to, I could make a whole video as to why I hate this movie. I hate Scream 7. But if you can tell me respectfully how you feel about Backrooms, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm not saying that you're going to enjoy this. However, I will say, I've been on a roll lately. Just saying. I told people to go watch Obsession. Somebody in comments went to go watch it twice and said they fucking loved it. I said I loved it. It was like, all right, let me check it out. And it was like, I was right. I talked about Passenger. I said the Passenger movie was a letdown. And people went to go see it, and it was like, yep, I was really disappointed. You were right. So I've been on a streak lately. So I will tell you, I really did enjoy Backrooms. So I do think you should go see it. Maybe I was right again, and I'm 3 for 3 right now. We'll see. Because right now I'm 2 for 3. Hopefully, if you go see it and you like it, and you comment like, yo, I really did enjoy it, and stuff like that, I'm like, yo, I'm 3 for 3, yo. I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm a pretty good movie critique, you know. I'm not fucking biased. I just tell you what I like and what I don't like. So overall, though, the idea of Backrooms, all the stuff that's going on, I think is a fantastic concept, and we can make so much out of this if he does want to drag it on. If this is going to be a one movie, which is probably not, because they're making so much money off this movie, you know, companies, they're going to see this and they're going to be like, we made so much money, we got to make another one to make more profit. So if they do want to continue this, I'm totally down for it because there's so much we can explore with the Backrooms. There's just so much to this where it's like we can't fit it into an hour and a half movie. We can do an extra hour. You could do another one. It's fine. If you want to add more characters to insert into the Backroom so we learn more, I don't care how you go about it. I'm down for another fucking sequel or two. That's all good with me because I think this has potential to be a really good psychological horror franchise. So we'll see how that goes. Overall, like I said, Backrooms, I highly suggest you go see this movie because it's actually a really good time if you want to use your brain a little bit and not let everything spoon feed you. You actually have to do stuff yourself. I'd highly suggest you go see it. Overall, Backrooms, 9 out of 10. I can't wait to see your opinions. Put down in the comments if you watched it or if you're going to watch it. Let me know how you feel about Backrooms because I genuinely want to hear what your thoughts are because I know the people in my comment section aren't fake people. They'll actually go and watch it and give me their actual full critique, which I really appreciate because there's a lot of people that just come on to channels and just shit on it because everybody else is shitting on it. The people that I know that comment on my videos, they're always straightforward. They'll tell me how they feel because they actually did watch it without anybody else's opinion. So I do appreciate that. And I do appreciate that you guys come on here and watch how I feel and then go to watch the movie and not use my opinion to persuade you into liking the movie. I'm persuading you to go watch it, but not persuading you to be like, yeah, you better watch this and you're going to fucking like it because I said so. I'm saying you're probably going to like it because I liked it. And if you don't, at least you gave it a try. And I'm glad that I was able to persuade you to spending a couple bucks to go watch this movie and go support kaneparsons and go support A24 and support all these companies, Curry Barker, Blumhouse. If I'm doing my job by helping you be like, yo, you know what? Life's crazy right now. Let's go enjoy a movie. I'll tell you about this movie, see if you like it, and then come back and give me your thoughts on it. That's what all of this is about. And that's always what I wanted this channel to always be about. I always wanted to just say my opinion, have an engagement, see if you guys like what I say. If you don't, give me back some comments where you just don't like what I say or like what I do. I'm totally fine. I'm cool with that. I know I'm going off topic, but that's what I really wanted this to be. Like, there's some people that don't like that I use the freaking the board, the race board, because they're like, oh, I'm not in school anymore. Why are you doing this? What are this pre-K videos and stuff? And I'm like, dude, well, it's fine. I appreciate you coming out and saying something because it does show that I'm actually doing something on this platform, which really, really means the world to me. So, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you guys feel about Backrooms in the comment section below. Once again, this has been the Slasher Bachelor, and I'll see you in my next video. Probably Scary Movie 6 because that comes out next week. We'll see. All right. Have a good one. See you later. Love you.
You better rock your body now.